Great to see so many people here tonight. I'm sorry that I kept you waiting so long, but obviously been a very busy night, very exciting night for us. Um, First, before I get into talking about the two young men that we drafted, I want to send a special thank you to my entire basketball operations staff, from the scouts to the front office executives, the basketball analysts, all the support staff. Uh, Awesome job and a tremendous collaborative effort. If you guys could have been uh, upstairs with us, you would see exactly what I'm referring to. And it was just very refreshing. It makes me feel good. We've set such a standard here in terms of how we work together, operate together, support one another, and it makes nights like tonight that much more special. Um, we spend a full year evaluating prospects who we look to help build this program. And you've heard me talk about building a sustainable winner. And so the countless hours of going to games, watching tape, interviewing players, talking to people in and around the players and their families, learning about them, is a tedious task, but a very most important task too, to trying to get this thing right. And our objective going into this, we wanted to get players who we felt fit the Kings DNA that we're building here. You've heard me talk about the 6 pillars, but from a basketball perspective as well too, guys with high character, guys who are tough and compete, who understand winning, and winning is important to them. And so I think the two young men that we drafted today both exhibit that, starting with Darius Acuff Jr., who we selected with the 7th pick tonight. This guy had a tremendous, historic freshman season at Arkansas. I mean, he was the second freshman to be named MVP of the conference, lead the conference in scoring and assisting since Pete Maravich. So I'm old enough to remember Pete Maravich. I don't know if all of you are, but he was a terrific player. And so to be in that kind of company says a lot about what that young man was able to accomplish. He's highly competitive. He's highly skilled. One thing that stands out about Darius, when he walks into a room, he believes he's going to be the best player in that gym, best player on that floor. He has a very quiet confidence. It's not an arrogance, but a very quiet confidence. So that's a very attractive about him. We also were able to acquire the rights in the trade with Cleveland to get Alex Caravan from University of Connecticut. He embodies what we're trying to establish here as a winning culture. Here's a young man, was a 4-year starter at UConn, played in the national championship game 3 times, won 2 national championships, excellent shooter, high IQ player, very good connector on the court. And as we all know, in today's game, you can't have enough shooting. So he adds that to us, but there's a toughness to him. There's a team spirit. And Alex, along with Darius, both embraced being here, wanted to be a part of what we're building here with the Kings. And so that really added something very, extra for us in deciding to select both of these young guys. Alex can play multiple positions on the front court. He's done that throughout college. So again, the winning was very attractive to us. That's one thing that our staff, we look for guys that are coming out of winning programs, because we think they understand what it means to sacrifice, what it means to play with other good players to accomplish a singular goal, and that's the goal of winning. So big step for us tonight in terms of us ultimately reaching our goals. Obviously, we still have a long way to go to get to where we want to get to, but leaving here tonight in this draft, I think we added 2 players that can help set the course towards sustainable winning moving out into the future. So with that being said, I'd be happy to take your questions.
Yeah, Scott. You talk about the way that Acuff, all of the accolades and everything, but how nervous were you watching the draft unfold, think whether or not he's going to fall to you at number 7, and were you super confident that that was going to happen?
Well, first of all, I just want to make a comment about the draft overall tonight. I think this is one of the deeper drafts in my 26 years in NBA where you knew there were a lot of high-quality players, and in particular, a lot of high-quality point guards. Obviously, Darius is one that as we went through a lot of evaluations and talks back and forth and debates back and forth, who we settled on, who we felt and believed in was the best point guard fit for us. So there's always some tense moments, but I've been around long enough. You control what you can control. And so there were 6 other teams that were selected above us. We were comfortable staying with where we were at 7. And we had an idea there was a possibility that he could get to us, but we know that a lot of people around the league also saw the immense talent that this young man had, so it wasn't necessarily a guarantee. But it worked out the way it was supposed to work out.
Scott, during this process, you said it took a little while. What's some of the things that stood out to you, maybe some glaring things about Acuff, through this thing, and maybe some things that you learned about, and talk about, defense, because that's been talked about a lot lately too.
Well, first of all, he is a tremendous competitor, and I watched what he did with that Arkansas team this year. I was fortunate enough to actually watch him a couple of years ago out of USA Basketball when I was not working in the league and I was working at ESPN, and I spoke to a young group that had all the top prospects out there. And just the way he went about his business then at even a younger age, back down for no one, has a lot of skills. He's a player that can score at all 3 levels. He can get to the basket. He can score in the mid-range. He can obviously shoot the 3-point shot very effectively. And he can get teammates involved. He's a very good passer. And so that's what you look for in a point guard. So he exhibited all those skills, so we're very comfortable in showing that. The defensive part, look, I'm a former college coach for 13 years. And when you have a high-usage guy like that on offense, sometimes he's not going to always be on the best guys, but he is more than capable of defending. When you get a young man like this who's highly competitive, who wants to be successful, he will figure out how to defend well enough at this level. So I'm pretty confident in that. Most of the guys that are getting drafted at the top of the draft all have to get better defensively. You got to learn this league. So that's something that I'm very comfortable and confident that he will be able to do.
Scott, building off of that a little bit with the defense, when we've talked to Doug, of course, over the course of last year, we'd ask him offensive questions. A lot of time he would almost pivot to the defense, so we know how important that side of the floor is to him. So can you speak on the partnership you see between the two of them, Acuff and Doug, and how he and his coaching staff can help Acuff on the defensive end in addition to what he obviously brings offensively?
Oh, absolutely. Look, great players or guys who aspire to be great players. Now, obviously, he's been a great player to this point. Now he has to come to the professional ranks and prove himself all over again. But he has a burning desire to want to be the best he can be. He will figure that out. He will be a young man who will accept coaching, will accept criticism. Matter of fact, he embraces that. And I think if you all reach out to Coach John Calipari, he would tell you that about Darius. So yeah, I'm excited to see his relationship grow with Doug and the rest of the coaching staff. He's going to be, I have no doubts that Darius will embrace that. And will he have bumps along the way? Absolutely. You can't point to a rookie that's ever played in this league that didn't have tough patches, tough stretches, and have some nights that things didn't go their way or they struggled. But what you look for is resilient personalities, and I believe he has that.
Scott, you've said you're very familiar, have been familiar with Darius's game. I'm wondering if there's an area of his game that jumped off during this evaluation period that you guys discovered that was unknown, and how that might help the team going forward.
I don't know if it was undiscovered, but his ability, people talk about size, but he's very strong. So his ability to play through contact was impressive. Not that we didn't think he could do that, but I think he does that at an even better level maybe than what I anticipated. He is more explosive and he's faster than what people think too from time to time. But he knows when to pick and choose his spots and how to use his speed. So he's been trained very well at the point guard position. Again, will he have a lot to learn when he comes to the NBA? Of course, because everybody's faster, everybody's stronger than from the level he just came from. And but the beauty about him, he's trying to figure it out. He knows he's just at the early stages of his journey, and he has a lot of big goals ahead of him that he wants to accomplish, not only for himself as an individual, but team success. Winning is very important to him. And watching what he did with that Arkansas team this year and winning the SEC tournament and going to the Sweet 16 says a lot for 18, 19-year-old young man in arguably the toughest league in college basketball this year.
Hey, Scott. You just used the words a few minutes ago, the best point guard fit for us. Mm-hmm. Can you break that down for us a little bit, like stylistically, what were the things that you saw in him in comparison with the other point guards that made him the best fit of the group?
I think all these point guards in the draft offer a little something different that are going to allow themselves to be very good NBA players. I think he combined more of the traits in terms of his ability to shoot the basketball is a separator for him at that position, number one. But his ability to pass, he can pass it as well as most of the guys in this draft. And so his ability to read defenses is very good. So there were a lot of traits to like, and it has nothing to do with the other guys because there were, again, a lot of these guards in this draft we really like, very fond of, and think they're going to be excellent professional players in this draft. So, but I think his combination of being able to shoot the basketball and score from all three levels, something that I believe our team needs, was a big separator for him.
Scott, you just talked about basketball traits, but what type of personality traits or Darius as a person does he possess that you felt confident in building your franchise kind of around him?
Well, he's been raised very well to be a very respectful young man, and that's important to me. I happen to have a little bit of familiarity with some of his upbringing because I happen to know his father a little bit. So I knew, and some of his uncles and people back in Detroit, but he treats people with respect off the court, which is extremely important. And so that's important to us. I want our guys, and you heard me talk about this before, not only to aspire and work hard to be great basketball players, but want them to be great citizens in the community. And I think he has an opportunity to do that. He's a young man. He's going to be growing, but he's a willing listener. He wants to be good, both on and off the court. So those were attractive to us.
Scott, the having familiarity with his father and obviously Darius being his own person, kind of along those lines, I've been talking to people that are close to Darius. They always refer to him as an alpha, kind of that leadership. Did his father possess those? Are they similar in a lot of ways, different? How do you just kind of view?
You're gonna get me in trouble. I'm not here to talk about his dad, but no, they're similar. They both have a very quiet confidence to them, and it's obvious to me that his father poured into him and taught him a lot of lessons that even for to be better than what he was, and so I think he's done a tremendous job in working with Darius Jr. They have an extremely close relationship, and that's good to see. And he's close with his mom. It's a very positive thing when you see the dual parenting like that. You know, two parents at home, both pouring love and support and tough love when it needed to be. And that's why one of the big reasons why the young man was in this position today to be drafted by an NBA team as high as he was, and has a bright future ahead of him.
Scott, there's been a lot of discussion and reporting, this offseason about you guys potentially exploring trades with some of your veteran and high-priced guys. And there was a report today that you guys are likely to stretch DeMar. Can you address any of those and just what your mindset is?
No, I'm not at liberty to address anything like that right now. So we got another day at the draft tomorrow. We're just a halfway point in the draft process. The entire off season is team building mode, as you know. And when we make decisions on what we're going to do and the direction we're going to go, we'll notify you at that time. But right now, my focus is on the draft tomorrow.
Scott, you brought in something like 50 different second-round pick, late first, early second guys during this offseason. The one thing that stood out with Alex was not just his three-point shooting, but the way he encouraged the other players on the court while they were shooting and missing shots, and he was really encouraging. Is that something that stood out to you guys, sort of the character that Alex brings?
Oh, absolutely. You hear a lot about that, and you heard a lot about his story during his years at UConn, and obviously you could see the winning and the basketball from afar. But just that snapshot of the workout and getting a chance to interview him and have a bite to eat with him, you learn more about the person, and that's real genuine. And, culture is everything to me. I don't think you can build a sustainable winner without a defined standard and a culture that everybody lives every single day. And that's part of who he is. That's who he was at UConn. That's what he wants to bring to the professional team he plays for. So we're fortunate enough to have him here, help being one of those guys, those kind of foundational guys to help establish the culture that we want. And that's being highly supportive of one another, highly competitive, and ultimately build that sustainable winner.
Obviously, rookies have an adjustment period, but how much do you envision Acuff's ability to create advantages and then capitalize on those, whether for himself or for his teammates, help elevating your team in the future?
I think I'm going to let him answer that for himself when you start seeing him play. I think he obviously has ability, and he'll figure that out with the assistance from our coaching staff and his ability to see what's going on in front of him. But the one thing I know, he's definitely up for the challenge, and that's how he's wired. And again, I think he wants to be the very best player he can become, and so it'll be fun watching him grow and figure that out.